Hello, fellow wanderers. Welcome to our new channel, The Red Pill. This is the first episode of what will be an ongoing series discussing dystopian fiction turned dystopian reality. My name is Michael, and I'm here with my namesake, Mike.
Hello, that was a wonderful introduction. I'll be joining Michael each week as we take the red pill and delve deeper into the underworld of science fiction. We start off this week with an introductory episode that explores the other side of the mirror.
Charlie Brooker's Black Mirror, in fact. Alarmingly, it has some not-so-fictitious storylines. Now, for those listeners that have somehow missed the show, especially since the streaming giant Netflix bought production rights in late 2015, here is a brief run-through.
Black Mirror consists of 22 episodes spanning 5 short seasons. This series caught many of us by surprise. It is a science fiction show created by the satirical legend Charlie Brooker. He and fellow producer Annabelle Jones take us on an unnerving journey examining modern society, focusing on the unanticipated consequences of new technologies. In short, it is a show that really takes the biscuit when it comes to deeply dark and dystopian social commentary of our otherwise loving and caring world.
So, what do you generally feel about the show, Michael?
I really like it. I enjoy the dark side of science fiction, especially when it's very close to the bone. It's incredibly gritty, humorous in places, and showcases some of the best writers of today. More so, it is believable. The technologies presented within are either here already or just a few years away from being developed. This makes the show realistic, despite having a sci-fi and horror background. Every episode is like a fly on the wall look into our lives as they are ruled by technology.
Yeah, the show is somewhat dark. When it first aired on Channel 4 with the national anthem, it's an episode that saw the Prime Minister getting up close and personal with a pig as he's blackmailed by a cyber terrorist. That opening episode sold me the idea that the series was going to take the piss of the political system, but it really did take an unexpected turn as the seasons progressed. Although the premise of Black Mirror is to reflect with some exaggeration the dark side of our world and societies, some episodes are becoming a little too real and a little too close for comfort for me. In this, I would like to specifically discuss Season 4's Metalhead and Season 3's Nosedive episodes respectively, both of which have attracted fresh attention of late due to the surfacing of real-world news articles trending on social media throughout this year.
Metalhead, yes. What an episode. Definitely one of my favourites throughout the season. This episode scores really highly with me.
Well, if I may interrupt you there, I'm just checking out this episode rating on IMDb, and this is one of the lowest ranked episodes. And actually, it's the lowest ranked episode. I'm quite shocked by that, Michael. All the episodes are 7.5 and above, while this one's sitting around a 6-7.
That does surprise me. What is wrong with people?
Well, that is what the show questions, of course.
I am really shocked by that score. I can think of worse episodes.
Yeah, me too, man. Which would you place at the bottom of the Black Mirror pile?
The first episode, the national anthem, as mentioned earlier, I don't believe it was a very strong episode to open and introduce the series. I didn't want to continue watching after that episode, to be honest. I just felt like they could have chosen a lot better.
So what you're saying is that instead of a light-hearted and politically satirical episode, you would want to be hit with the deep and dark and freaky, messed up episode?
Well, I do prefer the more depressing episodes, yes. I like the feeling that there's no hope. I like to be made to feel uncomfortable. I like unhappy endings.
Well, let's get talking about that Metalhead episode, shall we? What do you think about the plot?
Well, we've got no background to draw from. We fill in the blanks ourselves. What is obvious, though, is that the human race is living in fear of robotic AI weaponized dogs. Well, I say dogs. These don't wag their tails, chase a ball, or hump your leg. These hunt you down and murder you to death.
Oof.
The episode is shot entirely in black and white and contains only a small amount of dialogue. We are introduced to 3 characters, 2 of which die a horrible death at the hands, or should I say paws, of these robotic canines within minutes of the episode's introduction. There's a feeling of post-apocalyptic despair, grittiness, dirtiness, and hopelessness. What we do know is that the humans are living in this world afraid and are scavenging for supplies while avoiding these killer robots. The sole survivor that we see throughout the episode is Maxine Peake, star of Shameless, Dinner Ladies, and See No Evil, The Moors Murders. We follow her as she is relentlessly pursued by this dog across the land, up a tree, and into a house where the final confrontation takes place. This episode also draws comparisons with David Cameron's The Terminator, and, like the T-800, it will not stop until she is dead.
Terminator dog. Nice.
Yes.
Well, they are formidable weapons on legs, those things. The coupling of the military-industrial complex and murderous AI. It really portrays the fact that we have no hope. But when I first saw it, I thought I can kind of imagine this happening in the real world. But like most of the episodes, I'm also detached from from it because the world on screen isn't the world we live in.
Yeah.
But then I came across this article on CNN, aptly called Singapore deploys robot dogs to encourage social distancing. Look this up yourself, guys. There's an image of this dog, and my word, it's exactly like the dog from Black Mirror. I think it's made by Boston Dynamics. Although it is not AI, it is remotely controlled by an operator, but they are literally going up to humans, playing a message to them to disperse them. It's so inhuman. What's next? If AI is something that we should be concerned about in the future, and it's embedded or takes control of machines like this, should we be worried about that? I'm pretty worried about that.
Absolutely. You introduced me to that article and I was amazed. Technology has progressed so much within the last few years. Was it a recent article, did you say?
It was. I wish you kept up to date with the world though, Michael. Yeah, it came out on the 8th of May.
Well, this episode definitely brings technology into question. Are we giving machines too much intelligence? At what point are we going to stop?
Such apt questions, Mike. It depends on who you listen to, really. On the one hand, we have the Elon Musks of the world who are absolutely terrified of AI and it destroying mankind. And on the other hand, we have academics like Sam Harris who thinks AIs will be nothing more than a servant to mankind and is nothing to be worried about. But in the hands of world leaders that we have and that horrible hand of the military-industrial complex, I'm not seeing a bright, bubbly future for the use of AI at this current time.
We are living in George Orwellian times. Orwellian times.
Yeah, I like that. George Orwellian times. Let's make it our first catchphrase.
Let's get it printed on a t-shirt.
Sure thing, Mike. Any final thoughts on that episode of Metalhead?
Well, it's one of my favourite episodes so far. Very tense, very thrilling, perfectly cast. Highly recommended no matter what Internet Movie Database says. If you haven't seen it yet, please get it watched. Season 4, Episode 5, Beware the Future and Be Nice to Dogs.
Here. There's another episode I want to focus on, which is called Nosedive. You recently watched this for us, didn't you, Michael? Can you tell us about that episode?
This one focuses on the Facebook culture of liking people's pictures, posts and content, but moves it to the real world, where you're judged on everyday interactions with your peers. You start off with a certain amount of points, a set score. It moves up or down depending on how you act and how people respond in everyday interactions. Like if you listen to music loudly in your car, lose a point. Don't be polite to shop workers, lose a point. However, by being false and putting on a smile to everybody you meet, then maybe, just maybe, they will rate you and you will accrue points and therefore your social standing increases.
So, to sort of summarise that, it's like a Facebook thumbs up and that non-existent Facebook thumbs down that we all wish did exist. So, based on that in the episode, if you have a low score, you can't do things in the real world.
Yes, this alludes to the real world once again. For example, a credit score is quite similar. Companies judge you by your score. People with a higher score can get more credit and have access to the things that low-scoring people can't.
This episode kind of feels like then if Facebook was in real life. For example, on Facebook and across social media in general, we put on this certain facade and portray a certain self that we want others to see. But it makes you question why we do that. We show the sides of ourselves that we assume people are going to like the most, right?
That's right. That's what people do. They show what they want people to see, what they want others to believe.
So the main character of Nosedive goes from being the belle of the ball to complete trash.
Yep.
All because of downvoting. I feel like that is the real world we do live in, as unspoken as it is, but somewhat discussed. We're discussing it. Again, the scary thing about this episode is that I found another article that relates to the technology of the real world. Wired.com published an article in June last year titled Communist Social Engineering China has brought out a social credit system. From what I've read, very similar to Black Mirror. It ranks citizens based on their behavior and trustworthiness. So an individual has an interaction with another individual. It might be all smiles, but as soon as their back is turned, downvote. The downside of that is whoever you interact with will have the predetermined judgment of you based on your prior downvoted interactions. Are we that far away from China in this globalized world that we live in? Can you imagine America or Britain implementing such a system if China has success with it, if it shows that social control and cohesion is possible with such a technology? I can, and that deeply worries me also.
Well, I believe this COVID-19 situation has shifted the way people view each other anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if this technology is brought into the UK soon. In the article, it mentions how a Chinese journalist has been blacklisted using the social credit system because of his reporting.
Yeah, what do you mean by blacklisted in this case?
He can't book a flight, he can't buy train tickets, he can't get a credit card. or because he's a journalist who reports the truth behind what we are actually told.
Okay, I'm just picturing this situation if it comes to fruition in this country, I don't know, 10 years down the line from now. I'm imagining, I'm a single person, I go out, I meet someone, we have a really nice time. Go back to each other's place, put on some nice music, start kissing, and all of a sudden that person pauses and says, can I see your social credit score, please?
Absolutely crazy.
Do you want to hear an interesting fact, Michael?
Yes, please.
Charlie Brooker has said he's postponing the writing of season 6 because the world we are living in right now is too dark from his standpoint. He thinks we need something a bit more unlifting. Maybe he'd be better off writing some kind of show called White Mirror. Are you worried for the future, Michael?
Yes. As a father, I constantly worry what it's going to be like for my son in the future.
Anyway, on that, we should reach the end of the show.
Well,
What do you think?
Yes, if you have enjoyed what you've heard today, please like, share, and smash that subscribe button for more content. I've always wanted to say that.
Yeah, we were pretty grateful, guys. We are a fledgling channel and need your support.
Tell me, though.
Tell me.
That's me.
You tell me. I'm me.
I want you to tell me.
You tell me. I'll tell you.
Tell me what we will be discussing next week.
Next week, we'll be discussing all things AI featuring show guests Elon Musk and Sam Harris.
What?
Not really. But we will be discussing their differing points of view on the current trajectory of real-world AI developments. On that, I think I'll speak on behalf of both of us, Mike.
Yes.
Goodbye for now, everyone. And as always, stay safe out there.